Artificial intelligence is already shaping how people learn, work, and communicate and govern and understand what it means to be human. For this reason, ethical artificial intelligence is not merely a technical concern, it's a moral, spiritual, and public responsibility. Pluralism matters within this conversation because no single institution, tradition, nation, or field of expertise can answer these questions alone. The future of artificial intelligence will affect people across cultures, religions, political systems, and economic conditions. And so our shared responsibility is therefore to ensure that technical or technological power serves human dignity and the common good. In his first encyclical, Magnifica Humanitas, Pope Leo XIV asks one of the defining questions of our time. How do we safeguard the human person in an age of artificial intelligence? His answer begins not with technology, but with what we might call ontology. Before asking what artificial intelligence can do, Pope Leo asks us to remember what a human being is. He writes that in an age when human dignity is threatened by new forms of dehumanization, ours is the pressing need to remain profoundly human in those moments. He urges us to safeguard what he calls the grandeur of humanity, of dignity and depth that no machine can replace. And this is the central claim of Magnifica Humanitas. Human worth is not earned. Pope Leo warns against the insidious idea that every person must justify their worth, especially when greater value is assigned to those who appear more efficient or productive, effective, and more. A person's dignity does not depend upon intelligence or productivity or wealth or ability or status or even usefulness. Dignity is a gift that precedes and transcends every person, every life. It's given by God and granted in unconditional love that simply cannot be erased. This is an ontological claim. We possess dignity, not because of what we produce, but because of who we are. According to Pope Leo, we are embodied and relational beings created for communion with God, with one another, and with the whole of creation. We possess the capacity to choose, to accept responsibility, to discern good from cruelty, to suffer with one another, and to give ourselves in love. Artificial intelligence may possess language that generates images, analyzes patterns, and performs extraordinary calculations, but as Pope Leo reminds us, no computational system, however sophisticated, can create a heart that gives itself or a conscience that discerns good from cruelty in the world. That distinction must remain clear for us. Intelligence is not the whole of humanity. Human beings, for Pope Leo, did not merely calculate. We know ourselves as well as interpreters. We remember, we hope, we create meaning, we accept responsibility for our actions, we live with vulnerabilities and limitations and our mortality, and the claims that other people also make upon us. For Pope Leo, the central ethical question is therefore not simply whether artificial intelligence works well. The deeper question is whether it serves the human family. Does it protect dignity? Does it strengthen truth? Does it widen participation and protect the vulnerable? And does it preserve human judgment and moral responsibility? Or does it encourage us to value speed over wisdom, or technological power over the common good? Magnifica Humanitas warns against allowing human beings to be reduced to data, to consumers, to profiles and workers and problems to be solved. No problem can be adequately represented by an algorithmic category. No life can be measured only by its usefulness. And Pope Leo here also reminds us that solidarity must shape decisions about data, about algorithms and platforms and artificial intelligence. These decisions cannot be guided by the immediate benefit of the few. They have to account for the consequences for all people and for future generations. And this is why pluralism matters once again here. Ethical artificial intelligence requires the participation of people whose experiences and beliefs and vulnerabilities and forms of knowledge are different from our own. It requires religious communities, scientists and educators, policymakers and artists and workers and citizens from everywhere to deliberate, to discern together about the kind of future we desire. Pope Leo contrasts the Tower of Babel with the building of our common home. That's an example we can stick with. The Tower of Babel represents pride, domination, fragmentation, and the concentration of power. But the other, the home idea, requires humility and cooperation, accountability, and shared responsibility. And this is where beauty retains an important, although quieter, place in our lives as well. Beauty reminds us that human life exceeds function. It appears when dignity is honored, when power becomes service, and when our relationships reflect generosity and a genuine attention to one another. Beauty is present wherever human beings refuse to treat one another as objects and instead recognize one another as persons. The challenge before us then is not simply to make machines more human-like, it's to remain magnificently human in ourselves, capable of conscience, capable of responsibility and relationship, truly capable of wisdom and able to use our power in service of a shared and dignified human future. Pope Leo writes that the civilization of love will not arise from one spectacular gesture, but from small and steadfast acts of fidelity from all of us that resist dehumanization. That work is already before us here. At CEIE, we engage across differences, we learn from one another, we grow in wisdom and responsibility, and we serve in efforts of a pluralistic and shared human future. At CEIE, we engage, learn, grow, and lead in this way.